Siguro meron din mga ibang pangarap na hindi nyo nabanggit mo dahil siguro ang group natin ay Christian. Pero a lot of people, so maraming tao, ang mga pangarap nila would probably be one of these dreams that I have listed here. Number 1, to go abroad. Wala bang nangarap ng gano'n? Siguro, naka-abroad na kayo. O ayaw nyo mag-abroad, o walang perang pang abroad. Pero di ba magandang pangarap yun? Arating sa Amerika, sa Canada, sa Australia, sa Europa. Then probably, a lot of people also wanted to own their own house, or dream house. 3 bedrooms with swimming pool, mansion over the hilltop, probably a brand new dream car. Diba? Pwede rin maging pangarap natin. Or some people, especially Christians, wanted to simply have a Christian family. Karoon ng pamilya na mayroong takot sa Diyos, as some of you have listed. Maraming tao gusto rin maging napakayaman, katulad ng may-ari ng Musumar. May mga tao naman, probably ang pangarap nila sa buhay ay magkaroon ng mataas na position sa gobyerno or probably high educational achievement. But if you are a Christian, napakahalaga ng ating mga pangarap o mga ambisyon sa buhay is in conformity to God's plan and God's will for our life. Kung mamumuhay tayo at gusto natin parangalan at malugod ang Diyos sa ating mga buhay, siguro pinakailangan makita natin na ang ating mga pangarap ay in conformity na ayon din sa mga pangarap at plano ng Diyos. Kung naniniwala tayo na ang Diyos ay mayroong magandang plano sa ating buhay. Di ba? Tama yan? So, please read with me sa ating teksto para makita rin natin ang isang aral dito na magtuturo sa atin, no? Na magre-remind sa atin, no? At maunawaan natin ang consequences ng isang buhay na hiwalay sa Diyos at sa kalooban ng Diyos. At ang isang buhay na kanyang plano at mga hangarin sa buhay is consistent to God's plan and God's will for our lives. And secondly, siguro maintindihan natin, maunawaan natin kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng kasakiman or a sin or the sin of covetousness. And kung paano tayo makakaiwas dito sa kasalanan ito ng kasakiman. Dalawang objective yung gusto kong maunawaan natin. So sa Ebanghelyo ni San Lucas, Kapitulo 12, starting from verse 15 hanggang verse 21, the parable of the rich fool. Then one man from the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." But he said to him, "Man, who may be a judge or an arbitrator over you?" And he said to them, "Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses." Verse 16, then he spoke a parable to them, saying, "The ground of a certain rich man yielded plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, What shall I do, since I have no room to store my crops?" And so he said, "I will do this. I will pull down my barns and will build greater, and there I will store all my crops and my goods. And I will say to my soul, Soul, you have many good laid up for many years. Take your ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, Fool, this night your soul will be required of you. Then whose will those things be which you have provided? So, he who lays up treasure for himself, and so he is he who lays up treasure for himself, and is not rich towards God. Palayan ng Diyos yung pagkabasa ng kanyang salita. Itong parable na ito, the Lord Jesus Christ is telling about a certain person described as rich and at the same time foolish. Mayaman siya, pero at the same time, siya ay hangal. Kaya parang katulad ng isang kasabihan, pogi nga, pero hindi naman goli. Diba? Maganda ang kanyang katayuan, kalagayan. He's rich. Problema lang, ay hangal siya. Parang isang lalaki, gwapong-gwapo. Kaya lang, di naman naliligo. Nawawala yung attractions pa. Why is he foolish? Is the question. Bakit siya naging hangal? Yun ang katanong na sasagutin natin. And I'm sure that he is foolish not because he is rich. Ang taong to ay hangal, hindi dahil sa mayaman siya. Meron kadahilanan kung bakit siya foolish. Ang kanyang kahangalan ay resulta ng kanyang desisyon na alisin ang Diyos sa kanyang buhay. And his foolishness is the consequence or the result of putting God out of his own life, and the result of which he neglect or failed to recognize God's ownership of everything, including his life. And his failure to realize and to recognize that we came here on earth without anything, and that we'll live this life without anything likewise. Naked we came, and naked we will live this life. Number two, he's foolish because he thinks he could live life independently apart from God. Without God, without me, the Lord Jesus Christ says in the Gospel of St. John, you cannot do anything. Thirdly, he is foolish because he thought that he is in total control of his life, and failed to realize that the end of life is death. Death is sure. Life is short. And sin is the cause of death. And that he needs God's forgiveness and restoration. Nakaligtaan niya yung mga bagay na yun. Kaya, itong tao na to, he failed to realize the issue of life with God. Kaya, yung kanyang kayamanan na kanyang sinasandalan ay hindi niya actually masasandalan. And God placed him in a dilemma. Sabi sa kanya, Thou fool, tonight I will take your life. Yun po ang dilemma doon. At ang question is that, kanino mapupunta yung mga kayamanan ng iniwan mo? Diba? Yun po ang issue doon. Ano mangyayari sa effort yung kanyang inipon? Everything goes to waste. At ma-realize niya na ang pera po, o pag-impok ng kayamanan, o yung covetousness, inordinate desire to acquire wealth, will make him foolish. And he is foolish because everything he thought, like saving money, are all wasted. and the money that he was able to have will be given to another person. In verse 15, I think the lesson, sinasabi doon dalawang word, take heed. The other word is beware. Take heed and beware. Take heed and beware of all forms of covetousness. So yung pong kasakiman, o yung word na covetousness, I think is something that we need to understand better. Pag sinabi pong kasakiman, hindi lang ito kasakiman sa isang bagay, o sa pera, o sa material possession. It could be applied to many things, all forms of covetousness. In Webster Dictionary, says that covetousness is an inordinate desire for material wealth and possession, exceeding reasonable limits. Walang contentment, walang kasiyahan, craving for more. Yun po ang covetousness. And it could be applied to money, material possession, but it could be applied to yung mga relationship, yung mga lalaki o babae na hindi na content sa asawa lang. Kailangan dalawang boyfriend, dalawang asawa, etc. Ganun po yun. At sabi ng Panginoon, take heed. Ingatan mo kasi pag di mo na ingatan, makikita mo yung buhay mo. Namumuhay ka dun sa buhay na sa tingin ng Diyos, wasted or foolish for that matter. And here are some points siguro na makikita natin kung tayo ay namumuhay na merong yung signs of covetousness. Or namumuhay tayo with gratitude and contentment. Are you contented, grateful, and a person who is God, seeking God? Number 2, are you a person who are sharing and generous to the needs of other people? Number 3, are you allowing God to dominate your plan and goals in life? And number 4, are you deliberately laying up treasures or investing in God's kingdom by denying yourself of earthly desires for Jesus and the gospel's sake? Yung mga tanong na yun would determine kung tayo ay taong sakit, tayo ay taong kontento sa buhay. Mahalaga doon, makita natin that we need to take heed and do away with any signs or forms of covetousness in our life. And 3 things that I would like you to take with you in this lesson. 1, you cannot live a life really, really successful or genuinely or truly successful in life and be prosperous apart from God. Ang totoong successful na tao, ang totoong taong maunlad at prosperous ay yung taong may kaugnayan sa Diyos. It's like a tree planted beside the river, in season, bears fruit. Yung leaves niya ay green. At yung mga ibon ay nagpupugad, yung mga taong napapagod. It's like a person who trusted God and lives according to His word. Second, covetousness